Welcome to Lip Service for Contractors. Here you'll learn what moves the needle in your business. With your hosts, Brigham, the deep thinker, Josh, the $100 million contractor, Zach, the confused millennial, Laura, the foreigner. Lip service. It's not about dictatorship. It's about leadership. It's not about duplication. It's about innovation. It's not about stuff. It's about your people. Strap in and get ready for some lip service.
Hey guys, we are back for another episode of Lip Service for Contractors. Taking your spot today, Brigham, you are missing out on an incredible podcast. This is our first episode where we're getting guests in and we're digging deep into what it takes to be an amazing salesperson versus a mediocre one or a poor one. We want to get away from you ever having the fear of your comfort consultant going out and burning a lead. Instead, you want to feel super comfortable and confident that he's going to close that lead. We're going to dig in with Chris and Rick today, total all-stars when it comes to not just building relationships, but closing relationships and turning them into a sale. So I'm so excited.
Before we go,
we got to get
all that
and much more in 1 minute. Power Selling Pros is the customer service coaching company for contractors. Their one-on-one coaching for CSRs helps contractors book at least 85% of their calls and wow more customers. And their group training for technicians helps you create a better buying experience in the home and close more sales. Visit powersellingpros.com to learn more about how you can make more money with their coaching programs.
Chances are you love what you're hearing on Lip Service for Contractors. And if you want to go deeper, have an actionable playbook, or just want to learn from some of the most successful and profitable contractors in the industry, check out Clover Marketing from Josh and Laura. They give away free, amazing information, tools, SOPs, scripts, and processes that help their family business grow to over 140 million. And those same tools have helped other contractors in the industry blow up their business and grow an average of 20% every single year. Check out growwithclover.com/free gifts. They update the free gift section all the time, so make sure you keep coming back.
Welcome back, guys. Let's get tucked into it. So what does it take to be an amazing comfort consultant or an amazing salesperson in general? And what separates the poor, the average, and the great?
I think before we even go in that, we should do some introductions because, like, I know who Rick is, I know who Chris is, and anybody who's in the know knows who they are. But there's a lot of people who aren't in the know, so I think it'd just be like introduce yourself. They know who we are. Rick, Chris, go ahead.
Rick Hutcherson, in the industry since eating industry since 1978. Started the first school in the country teaching residential replacement sales, maintenance tech sales, and call taking and management of air conditioning heating companies. Owner of several leading companies, successful companies, and partners in some of the quickest and fastest growing AC companies in the country. I love how people take them to the next level, take them to the top.
Now, Chris?
And I'm Chris DeRay. I'm the co-founder of Sales Crusher along with Rick. And our goal is to help HVAC contractors improve the performance of their technicians and their comfort advisors.
Yeah. And just a little backstory, like, number one, I mean, it's always weird to talk about yourself, but Rick could be the best salesperson. I mean, he's up there, at least. He's the top 5 I've ever met in my entire life for sure. And he was the very first, like, sales, I'll call it course or seminar I ever went to when I was 13. So I've known Rick for forever and a half. I got pulled out of school from my father. He's like, you got to go sit with this guy. And I spent 2 days getting yelled at by Rick. Tell me I'm just not enough, and then teach me how to be enough.
Way to break him down, Rick.
Like, if you've ever seen, like, Laura, you've never done one, Rich, but like the first day, like the whole theory, like you could take a horse to water, but you can't make him drink. Rick can make you drink. Yeah, the people like the first day, like crying, like, so I was just like, I'm just not good enough. You know what I mean? And then he's like, well, you can be. And here's how.
My passive side starts showing up,
Yeah.
My daughter says I'm the most passive aggressive person she's ever met in her life.
We need to, we'll chat about that at the end, but like clearly that had a huge impact on you, Josh, and your
Oh yeah. Oh, huge.
ability to teach others how to sell. So I don't know, do you still do events, Rick? But I know you're doing some amazing training virtually too. So let's make sure we chat about that at the end, because there's nothing more sickening. Like I know a contractor that I recently spoke to, and they as owners don't want to go out and close the sales. So they send a comfort consultant, which of course that's their job. What's his closing percentage? You know what I'm talking about.
This happens across the board.
Yeah, but the person that we recently spoke to the other day.
Oh, I think it was 25%. That's
that's painful.
I would be sick in my stomach knowing I've put this dude out in the field and he's going to burn a sale that I know I could close.
my first
75% of your customers that you pay for, that somebody else is going to get also.
Yeah.
It's going to be on his market for the next 10 to 15 years. What would be painful to me.
My first reactions was like, okay, well, when we're going to fire him? Like, is that today? Is that tomorrow? Like, you can't afford to close at 25%. That's ridiculous.
Josh, you don't, can we start with something right there?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
There's, when Laura asked me a question, what does it take to become a great salesperson? Man, that's open question.
Yeah.
Because it really starts with management, accountability, KPIs, a structure, having a system. And that's the stuff that the company should be supporting. So it's not always just the guy, right? So there's more behind the guy that's just as important sometimes than what the guy is, right? Making it happen, holding him accountable. The challenge with most owners and managers, they don't know sales themselves. They don't get involved in it. They don't get involved in the trading. They don't know how to help them. They don't know how to assist them. They don't know how to help follow up on calls they missed. They don't have a system of following up on calls they missed. They then, on the other side, become hostage to this guy with 25% closing ratio because they're scared they lose and they want to be sales because nobody else there knows how to sell, including them. And so they don't know if this guy I replace him, I get rid of, who am I going to replace him with? How am I going to train him? How's he going to be better than what I already have? And it becomes just a nightmare. So they just sell for it. They hold on to it because they really have nowhere else to go in their mind. That this is as good as it's going to get.
Oh, I get what happens. I get the why. And I 100% on the same page for you. Like if someone's closing at 25%, it's not just the salesperson. It's probably the owner, the salesman, lots of problems.
Lots of things.
Right. My only pushback is if you have a salesperson closing at 25% and they've been there a while, right?
Yes.
They've learned bad habits. They're just not a decent salesman with a poor setup still will close over 25%.
That's correct.
So like, that's my pushback, right? It's like, yes. Do you need to improve your systems? Of course you need to improve your systems. Like it should have never taken this long, like 25%. This better be a brand new guy. He started less than a month ago, right? That would be a different scenario. But if someone's closing at 25%, like you just can't afford to keep him. Like it's better to get someone new or someone with experience, whatever, and close at 35% with no systems. That's terrible too. But that's a huge difference between 25 and then start building the systems. You know what I mean? Like when people don't sell consistently for a long time, they create habits.
Yeah.
Habits are hard to break. And sometimes it's easier to have a clean break.
That's right. You might have heard this before, Josh, not sure. I think that through the years, I've come up with these numbers. I don't remember if I read it, to be honest with you. I've seen it and investigated, but for years, I've really paid attention to this and really came up with a scenario. And then the percentages had changed through a period of time. And this is something that I think you might want to hear and like to pass on. One is, here's how I see the whole process. 20% of the people will buy from anybody. I mean, that's just to give it. You just walk up and show up unless you so really stupid. 20%,
yeah,
they're just going to buy from you. They're
20% is order taking for sure.
Right. Because either they've done business with you in the past, they trust you, or they just don't want to get other bids. So just please don't lie to me. I'll take it. I want this out of my life. Okay. 30% don't care. They don't care about your warranties, your guarantees, why you're better than anybody else. They're either cheap or literally broke and have bad credit and just can't do anything about it. So they're just looking for the cheapest way out. They don't really care about your sales approach, right? 50% will go either way. They'll buy the Land Rover, or they'll buy the cheapest car they could find on a lot. And what determines that is that dude walking in the door is talent at this point.
Mhm.
So here's what I tell salespeople. You're only like this, but it kills them. It really does. They want to argue with me when I say it to them. What's your closing ratio? 50%. I said, you really mean 30. What do you mean? Well, what's your closing ratio? 50%. I said, you really mean 30. How's that possible? Because 20% of people would have bought them anyway. You can sell that.
Yeah.
So that means the closing ratio is actually 30%. Now, if you want to be 80-50, you have to be 70% closing ratio.
Yeah. The way I would say it, I agree. That's actually great. I'm going to start using that.
Rick's being a little polite though, how he's referred to those 20% of those people. Those are called the what, Rick? The 20%.
Well, what do you mean?
The lay down.
Hi, Chris.
Lay downs.
Oh, the lay down, Doug. Yes. Yeah.
The lay down. Yeah, that's what the 20% are called.
Yeah. Unius. Yeah.
Yeah.
I
agree with that 100%. I even take it a step further, right? Like we give like what a closing percent should look like. And I kind of break it down, whether it's, a tech lead, a market lead, or if a box store, and whether it's the busy season versus the slow season, right? That ranking is a lot higher in the busy season. It's a lot lower in the slow season, right?
Absolutely.
Well, that's probably
I expect 50% minimal closing ratio on a marketed lead, 80% to 90% on a tech lead, depending on the time of the year, closing ratio. And then I expect at least 5 to 10% self-generated from a salesperson. So that's kind of how I always play.
Now you're aggressive. That's what we look for in general. But when I give you tell me, if a normal contractor asks me, if we're talking about a high end that work on 1-1, for sure, I'm looking for on a tech lead, a 75% closing rate, right? But if I'm just a normal company's asking me, they don't the 75% is unrealistic. I say tech lead 65%. That's what I'm aiming for, right? I skew it, right? If I talk about P&L, right? I want 18 to 20%. That's what I want on the net. That's what I want there to be at. If I don't tell a normal contractor you should be at 20%, because I know that's unrealistic, I say 15%. 15, 17, I'm pretty happy. Is that 65 for tech leads? And I really say, 45 to 50 for market leads. Is that about accurate for you?
Yeah. I mean, I found that the really good salespeople and technicians, it's all about, the first step to closing, Josh, is know you can. So when these technicians or salespeople are trained properly, they're not just throwing numbers out on the first call every time.
Right.
As if they find out, which they better find out, if they can close or not tonight, they're not giving it quotes. So there's nothing happening yet. So that's the first thing. So we qualify that we're going to actually have a chance to close. And once you've done that, I really think 50%, like I said, is where I say in the 80 higher on tech leads. Does that answer the question you just asked?
Yeah, no, it does.
Yeah. And so the other thing is too, Josh, it just, once I love this, I'm not asking you to close 50%. I'm asking you to close 30. 20 would buy from me anyway. So let's get you to a 30% closing ratio. And we'll just let the 20% your free gift. They'll let you work for me.
Yeah.
No, I got something to throw in though. I think, and Josh and Lauren, maybe you guys can throw your experience. Most contractors do not track the closing rate between marketed leads and tech generated. They're not even tracking it separately.
Honestly, most contractors don't track revenue. They don't track, they decide whether their business is doing well, whether the bank account's going up or not. They don't track tech leads. They're well, we're slow today. That sucks. You know what I mean?
Like how a corporate consultant deals with a market lead versus deals with a tech lead. Does that differ drastically?
Absolutely. Oh yeah. Yeah. It's two different creatures. One's a tech lead that comes in a lot. They are already trust you pretty much, right? Because the technician has created that bond. Now that doesn't mean the salesman doesn't have to go out there if it's a handoff, that he doesn't also have to create trust factor with them. But there's already a big bit of that there once he's already at the door. Yeah. Where when it's a marketing lead, and look, here's a big thing. If that tech lead is handed off properly, in a timely fashion and done properly, the goal is for them not to get any other bids, just to have you only. So when you have a marketing lead, now we have some great marketing pieces sometimes they go out there and they cause people to respond right now that we're thinking about responding to any aircraft meeting. It just drew them in and they call you only just to see what it's about. You'll have a higher closing ratio with that person than the one that's already looking and going to call 4 or 5 companies. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of reasons. They have to be treated differently for sure.
That's right.
It's not the same sales process. It's
No.
similar, obviously, but it's not the same sales process. And the biggest difference, without a doubt, is on market leads. The vast majority of the time, they're getting multiple quotes, and
That's right.
that doesn't matter. You can still win those at a very high
That's
percentage.
right.
Not having any other options is better.
Always better.
Let's dig into both of those then. So what does it take to be an amazing comfort consultant? And then we can tease out the different nuances or how that varies from market lead to tech lead. So like clearly trust is huge. So if that's the first one, how is trust built? Or what else in addition to trust makes for an amazing comfort consultant?
Are we good?
Right.
Are we talking about the system or the actual comfort consultant? Because I think these are like, let's specify this too.
That's right. Yeah.
I think the actual comfort consultant, but probably both. Because if you have a great comfort consultant but a crappy system, you're not going to.
Let's go comfort consultant first, and then we'll swing the system after.
Yeah, let's do
Yeah. So, the comfort consultant. I mean, there's so many layers to this, right? One of my favorite sayings that I heard Tiger Woods say one day was,
I got like loads of notes.
the Tiger Woods said one day, he said, funny things, when he was winning the British Open by the largest spread in history, he said, funny thing, he said, the more I practice, the luckier I get. And that was just really powerful to me. And that's why we're a lucky cat. So here's it's the thing. You have to understand that most salespeople spend no time, and this is not a plug, but spend no time training themselves, preparing themselves, conditioning themselves. I mean, they just understood listening to a top trainer in our industry or a Jim Rohn or
A book on Audible. You know what I mean?
yeah, that's what a book on a Zig Ziglar, a Cardone, something to inspire them. Look, I've been speaking since 1990 publicly in front of groups. I'm ready to speak next Monday down in Naples. Tuesday, in Naples. I will listen to at least an hour, I promise you, or 2 hours the day before on Monday, just refreshing my mind, getting myself in gear, prepared to be excellent when I walk up on that stage. That's what these guys are missing. They don't do. Josh is so lucky. Man, back in the old days, I used to have to go to the library on the Dewey Decimal System and hope that the book is where they were supposed to put it. It was there. To Zig Ziglar or Dennis Waitley or Earl Nightingale. And so, understand Brian Tracy. I understand these guys can listen to this stuff all day long, driving around in their car, getting a master's degree, a PhD in communication, persuasion with integrity, selling, closing all day long, man. And they're not doing it. So I think one of the biggest things I want to say to what makes a great salesperson is the passion to always want to get better. Yeah, something about it.
I'm going to ask you one quick question on that then. Because I agree, like preparation is everything. And unless you're choosing to grow, you're choosing to get worse. What are your best sales books?
Geez, that's a tough question because it really
Top 3.
It really depends on the level of where they're at. So I can go really old school to you. I can go to Zig Ziglar over the top. I can go to a book that if I wouldn't have read it, I don't know if I looked at today, How to Influence People.
Favorite book, right there.
Yeah, I don't know if I would have had success without that book. And then the other one would definitely have to be probably The Magic of Thinking Big by Dr. David Schwartz.
That's solid.
Or Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. Those were game changers for me.
So if any salesperson is listening to this and hasn't listened to those, just listen to them.
Please.
I always make the recommendation to younger people because it's so relevant. You can watch the movie associated with it. and it's such a great sales book, is the Jordan Belfort Way of the Wolf book.
Oh yeah.
That's a freaking great sales book too.
Yeah.
Like pure sales. Like that's pure sales book. But
Those were back to my day though, the ones
hey man, I still listen to a 1 2
yeah.
a month.
Oh, they're still very relevant today. They're just they're stars back then, but they're very relevant today. And as a man thinketh, can't miss that book. I mean, that's your books.
Yep.
Just you can't miss that. For to be the ultimate you can't miss that stuff. And I just can't imagine, guys. Can't even imagine where my mind and my life would have been if I had the ability. If you went in my old cars and my service trucks, I had a cardboard box full of cassette tapes after I got rid of my 8-tracks. I used to have an 8-track player. I really did. And I used to have a cardboard box full of cassettes of nothing but the Zigs and the Swaitleys, Earl Nightingales. I can't imagine what these guys have in front of them today to listen to these podcasts, to listen to these audibles all day long, and where I be even past the wonderful, amazing life that I have, where I would be with that information every day in my head. Wow.
You said something that is so true. You said the more the first, you said something like the first part of selling is believing that you can.
The first part of clothing is knowing you can.
Knowing you can. And then the books that you referred to as being the most impactful, I've read most of them. I actually think I've read all of, I haven't read Over the Top. It's the only one I haven't read. And the other ones are a lot of them are mindset based, where it's working on your belief system. And
that's right.
That's just such a fascinating, but that's a fascinating correlation. Well, it's not just what sales is, but I think to Rick's point, it's the start.
That's right.
Sales is entirely mental. Like there's very little, especially in our industry. There's very.
I agree. Yeah. I agree. It's mental, but but these books specifically dive deep and hard and commonly painfully into your belief systems and how you actually.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
Yeah.
Anyway, that was just a pivot. Go ahead.
You'll like this because where I'm going next is definitely back to the mental. So what makes a great salesperson? So I really believe that a great selling person or a person who sells for a living, their income level is equal to their fear level.
Interesting. Yep.
And so that's a mindset, right? So I go in, let me tell you a little story about a little ditty about Jack Diane down in, let me tell you a little story about down in New Orleans, right? Got a guy there I met, barely survived, take 2 quick ones, barely surviving down there. He was on the fence of maybe not even keeping his job. And it's not because we're asking him to push sales and people to close everybody and take advantage. That's not what it's about. This is about selling's really bad when you lie. So never break your integrity. That's not what this is about. See what we can sell. Don't sell because you can. Do it when it's right. But don't judge people. Don't assume people want what you have. Don't judge they can't or won't want it. It's your job to teach them their options and do well at all those options and let them pick what they want to spend their money on. It is not your job to tell them what to spend money on. Your job is to have they can spend money on and they decide if they want to or not, right?
Yeah.
And so when I taught this one guy that, I said, quit selling. Dick, don't have no fear. Don't lie. Have no fear. Walk in, show them the free, show them the premium, show them the deluxe, show them the base. Let them see all of them. Now, if you do a really great job streaming the premium and the deluxe, they're going to lean towards those. And that's your job. That's the persuasion of with integrity. That's your job. So he said, that's all I got to do is teach, man. Teach. Just teach. Teach what they can do, what they have. And he did it. When I went back down there, the general manager of the company stands out. He says, "You remember Brandon, Rick?" And I looked down and I said, "I do." He's kind of a quiet off guy. And he says, "Hey," he said, "I want you to know after we left, we sold 25 premiums, which he's never sold one in his life before. And those are like $14,000 systems." He sold 25, and the funny thing was, I said, "What changed you?" He's like, "I quit fearing of asking for them. I thought everybody, all they wanted was the cheap stuff. I was scared to ask for 14. I thought everybody wants stuff here, stuff for 8,000. It was the fear of rejection of that $14,000. And so this other kid I met a while back in Alabama, he told me, which was a beautiful story, Tuesday of this week, I was there, and he said, you know, when I met you, I only did several $100,000 of sales the entire year of my, and that's probably my best ever year of my life. I've been doing this like 15, 16 years. He said, after you left, the general manager, the regional manager, they're here in the whole thing. He said, after you left, I did over 200,000 in the next 30 days. He said, it's been 5 months now and I'm over 700,000. And I said, how's that feel? He goes, my wife loves it.
So Rick, in fear, I'm sure she does. In fear. Go
And
ahead.
I said, I said, what changed in you? He said, I'm not scared to ask anymore.
How do you crush that fear? How do you, like, fear is like a habit. How do you crush that?
So it's so easy in our industry because you're not selling something people don't need.
Right.
They have to have what we have. And if you don't lie and you tell the truth, what are you fearing?
Right.
There's nothing bad can happen to you. Just tell the truth. Just be really great at showing the benefits of everything truthfully, with integrity, and then let them pick what they feel works best for their life.
Awesome.
That's all you got to do.
That's awesome.
I think specifically for our industry, I agree 100%, Rick. Like, you can't be afraid to ask for the sale. And I think everybody knows that, but in practicality, a lot of people struggle with it, right?
Yeah.
And I think to a point, not being afraid is literally a decision. Like,
It is.
not that you don't care that you get the sale, but you have to be okay with losing sales for you doing everything right. Right. It's like, I don't mind that. That doesn't hurt me. I think another part of that too is like, if you're a salesperson, you should be anchoring. If you don't know anchoring, look up that Jordan Belfort book. It talks about like, anchoring is a common. What happens to salespeople sometimes is if they're on a roll, there's no fear. If they miss one call and they miss a second call, which any salesperson can miss multiple in a row. Like, it's the luck of the draw to a point, right?
You can go 3 days. You can go 3 days sometimes. It happens.
Yeah. Even the best salesman, it's rare, but it happens, right? And the best salesmen reset themselves after each call. The mediocre or the poor salesman starts getting down on themselves and starts doubting.
And then
I don't even know how to close these anymore, you know?
And then he starts thinking he has to give stuff away to fix it.
Yeah, 100%. And that creates a bad habit in itself. I think it's a decision process, and I think anchoring is another great tool to eliminate that fear. You agree with that?
I've heard Josh. He was able to be influenced in my life. Sandler on sales.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really recommend anybody out there. It's another book for you guys. If you haven't read it, You Can't Teach a Kid How to Ride a Bicycle at a Seminar.
It's a good book. It's a classic.
Oh, that's a great book.
It is a great.
Yeah, it's on Audible now.
There's some books that now are only like they're so late to the game and bringing their Audible in, and it's very exciting.
Yeah.
I'm going to add one thing in it. Rick it's a big belief system of Rick's about what makes a great comfort advisor, makes a great technician. And me and Rick have talked about this extensively. It's that they're open to coaching. How many times, Rick, have we discussed, like, if you've got somebody who's got the desire, they may not necessarily have the skill set currently, but if they've got the desire and they're open to coaching, the sky's the limit for them. But
That's right.
so hesitant to even consider being coached, what are you going to do with them? And I think that's something that we should discuss because it goes, and Josh, you talk about like Rick's approach to training somebody is the mindset stuff. If they don't have the mindset that they're open to coaching, what do you do with them? You could try your best, but a lot of times it's like banging your head against the wall.
I would say if a person's not growth oriented, don't even hire them.
That's what I would say. It's not about coachability. That's a piece of it, but it's about the willingness and the drive to grow, regardless of the format.
I'd like to dig into that too. But also, Josh, you did mention anchoring, and I think it's because it's such a solid actionable. Give the example of the dude in the car that plays his favorite song every time. Like,
there's 100 ways to anchor, but
people don't even know what it means. What does it mean?
Rounding yourself back, taking yourself back to zero and start saying, I'm back. I'm ready to go fresh, brand new.
Yes and no. So anchoring, like that's one form of anchoring, but anchoring is basically, you could use an emotional, you can make sound, you could do a physical aspect. A lot of people do smells, and like everybody smells a great one, right? Everybody's grew up and they have a dish that their mom made, right? And you smell that, it takes you back to that place. You feel that emotion, you could see it, like you're back there. Anchoring is doing that purposely. So like a good example is like I have an anchor. I'm not going to do it now because I'm super excitable, but like whenever I'm on top of the world, I just spoke in front of 5,000 people. We just made this gigantic sale. We just sold a business. Like I just went skydiving and I feel on top of the world. I anchor, and that anchor becomes tied to that emotion. So the moment I want to go back to that, I'm on top of the world, I can't do wrong. I can anchor, and I'm instantaneously back to that high. And it lasts at least for me, at least an hour, where I'm like, I can't stop smiling. I can't, like, I'm on fire, which is exactly why I do it right before I speak or something like, just like.
That's right. That's right. You know, Josh, somebody thing, and I want to go back. I got one more thing to talk about fear. You guys don't mind, but
Love it.
I want to share with you, Josh, that I talked about that in my training, my life training, my peak training I do for a life event, 3-hour life event, depending on which time I have available, and I'll be through the Tuesday, that I let them know that it's a funny thing about our mind. I can make myself depressed as easy as I can make myself excited and full of joy. It's all a step. Most depressed people, when they're in a depressed state, put themselves there through steps of thinking and put them in that hole. And then the same way, anchoring yourself and bringing yourself back to a great place, it's the same process back, you know, and you got to understand that when the bad stuff is coming in and wants to take you over, you got to, I used to call it time out in the car for I sticky. The time out, baby. You're not taking me, and get my mindset back to where it needs to be. Does that make sense?
Yeah. No, I agree.
Yeah.
I'm shooting a mindset course right now for contractors. I got to get you on as a bonus for sure.
All right.
Awesome. So Chris, sorry, you were elaborating on something, and I just didn't want the anchoring piece to be forgotten. Keep going. I want to get back to that.
Again, me and Rick had talked extensively. I was in the same position, Josh talks about when he was 13 years old when he went to Rick's sales class. I was like, I think a junior in college that my dad sent, and I was scared.
You're a late starter.
I was, I was waiting to the gate. So I'm like going to this sales class and I'm like scared. I'm like, man, I'm not a high pressure guy and whatnot. And what Rick teaches is so much about mindset just before getting the skills. But if you're not open to that, it really is going to block you from putting the skills into place. And I'm going to come back to, we were talking about books, and now I think about it, I want to throw something out there. Is Success is a Choice by Rick Pitino, which is a classic. Again, it's so much about mindset. If you don't have the mindset right, you're never going to get the skills part. We talk about one thing is, we talk about some athletes who are extreme performers, and we talk about the late Kobe Bryant. Man, if you do any research about him, you'll hear about what he called his Mamba mentality.
Yes.
He had a work ethic that blew anybody else's away. And if you're interested in learning more about Kobe with that, I would pick up the Tim Grover book that just come out, Winning, which goes in that as well.
As an employer, this is like a harsh thing to say, but if a person comes in for an interview, when you meet a person who's quite insecure, you can feel that. Feel their level of like shyness, lack of confidence, feel like they're only an okay person. As crap as it is, and my heart would want to nurture them for the best for your business, it is best that you just, like, there's a lot of mindset work that you'd be so long trying to coach them on. You're probably better off not hiring them as much as you like.
That's correct. That's correct. Unless you feel hunger in them. And that's another thing.
Yeah.
You can't replace hunger. Someone's got hunger where they really want a better life. They want something better. They know that what their 10 years is going to look like on the path they're on now, it's not where they will end up. And they really see they're on a path to a place they don't want to go. And they're hungry for better. You take a hungry person that even has a little awkwardness about them. I've done it many times in my life. You can get them there. But again, it's that open mind.
Why are you looking at me when you say awkwardness, Rick?
Yeah. Zig Ziglar really, said it best, right? He said, your mind works like a parachute. It only works when it's open. And if you got the open mind, you can become anything you want to become or be taught anything, right? Some people's minds work like this parachute. I won't say what they call it, but it opens on impacts, right? They wait till their life's hell. They wait till their wife's going to leave them. They wait till they're going to get ready to lose their job. They wait till they can't pay their bills. Oh, I better do something.
That's like preparation backwards. It's like they're preparing to be divorced. They're preparing
right.
stuck at their jobs by choosing
Right.
or whatever.
They're really not paying attention to where they're heading. They're not paying attention to where they're going. They're not saying, if I keep doing this way, this path I'm on, how I study, how I practice, how I prepare, how I do my follow-ups. When a customer says I want to think about it, how I handle that. I mean, even that small stuff. Where is this going to take me 5 years from now if I don't change it or get better at it? They don't like that stuff.
I have so many questions. I think we could go on for episodes and episodes. But you just said something like, so to give an actionable piece on this podcast, would it be useful? And I'm going to put this to you guys to talk about like the most common objections that come up in the sales process and how, like, Rick, how you'd handle them and how then people could literally say this to their salespeople and they have that like script to take away.
Closing is practice. Okay.
Yeah.
I have a little giveaway I'd like me to give. I was going to give you guys today, but it's kind of off the beat of what we're talking about, but it's on the beat of sales, right?
Yeah.
Fear is really huge here. Fear is the only thing that keeps most guys from closing. This is what's really mind-boggling. They'll go on a sales call, spend 2 hours with the customer of their life, use commissions to it free on top of all this. Free. It's free, right? They go up there for free and spend 2 hours and don't ask for the sale. They look at the customer in silence after they show the equipment. And the customer looks at them and says, well, okay, I think let me get back to you. Let me stay fun and talk to my wife. I'm talking over. They go, okay. And out the door they go.
Yeah. That timidity is killing.
They're so scared to get rejected. They're so scared to hear no because they don't know what they're going to say if they hear it. And so they're so scared of the no. And I tell them, how long you been married? 10, 15 years? You know what? At least 7 days a week. That's real rejection. She said, I know you, brother. Gonna face only a dog in love. No, here's
You could be a dog. Jesus, that's harsh.
I think that's the first time she's probably ever heard that, Rick, right there.
I think to come back to what you said about like what are the common objections and whatnot, and the thing that Rick keep going back to is that if you do, Rick teaches a 16-step process.
Yeah.
If you do the things over the course of the call, most of it should resolve itself where the customer closes themselves. And I think that Rick, that's a huge part of your system. And I think that
it's conditioning the customer all the way through. My goal is, which I know Josh knows this, is to overcome every objection before it becomes one. I know the obvious stuff. One of the things I teach is that, look, we already know what people are going to say to us. We already know. We've heard it many times. We know what they're thinking. So say what they're going to say before they say it. Think it before they think it. Overcome it and get rid of it because it's there. Salespeople, for some reason, act like they hide from it. By osmosis, it's going to go away, but it doesn't.
Yeah, it's the ostrich approach. Spare your hand the sand that's not there.
Yeah, right.
Could we get that 16-step approach, or is it something behind your paywall?
It's free. You want me to give you the link now?
Let's do it. Yeah. Let's
go to salescrusher.com/free-report. So salescrusher.com/free-report. So it's the 16 steps. It lays it all out.
Amazing.
Yep. We'll put a link in the show notes too.
Sure.
Yeah. And so really, guys, so the only objection to be left at the end of this call is money if you've done your job right. Because money's always going to be an objection, right? So now all we have to do is find out a way to make it affordable for them, something that can fit in their budget. And maybe it's breaking it down to the day. Sometimes I do hurt, you got the Lamborghini sitting out in your driveway, or you got the Land Rover sitting out in your driveway. This is the Lamborghini of the air conditioning heating world. I don't know what that out there nowadays costs, but I can get you the Lamborghini of the air conditioning world in your house for $8 a day. How would you like that?
I like it.
Yeah, breaking it down. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
I'm more of a Porsche kind of gal, Rick.
Yeah. Yeah, that like yeah, a nice 911 movie.
It'll only cost you $6 a day.
No, God.
This was a terrible conversation. I regret. That's now.
That's great.
The fear thing, let's back to it real quick. If you can get a guy over, get past this fear of at least asking the homeowner why. If they say, I want to think about it, I want to sleep on it, I want to get back to you, I'm going to get other beds, I'm going to take a couple of days. If you can at least get to say why, I teach that, look, here's the deal. When you were a child and someone said no to you, your father, your mother, unless you got backhanded across the head with a ring, you would ask 4, 5, 6 times why. But why? How come? No, why? Oh, no, why? It's still, they eventually thought this, oh, just shut up, right? So, and you knew it wouldn't work, right? It's so, I really want people to understand that I want to think about it. I want to sleep on it. I'm going to know the myths are not real objections. Those aren't objections. Those are cover-ups for a real objection.
You know,
Down.
yeah, Jordan Belfort calls it a smoke screen for uncertainty, right?
That's right. And you can't walk out of a customer's house to find out what the uncertainty is. You got to get the smoke screen down and say, listen, I know this is a big decision. I want the best for you. And in my duty, my job, my obligation is to make sure that I've given you all the fair information and you understand everything I'm here to show you and that what we're all about. I want to make sure I haven't left anything out. It's very important to me that I have it. What would you say is the biggest thing if you had to pick something that's keeping you from doing this right now? What would that one thing be? Well, so that's just one way. But just getting people to ask that question, they will do it. I mean, they fall apart, man. They don't even ask for the sale, half of them. They just wait to see the customer says yes. If they don't, out the door they go.
Yeah.
And I'm going to pull it out to the coffin. And then they leave and never even call the customer back. That's the other one. It's like
Rick looks horrified. I feel horrified. I do.
But I mean, and so like, I think we're on opposite sides of the fence. We agree on most things. I'd never trust, no matter the quality of the salesperson, that they're going to call them back. I'd trust the sales recovery like 24 hours later, like no matter what. Like, sure, there's some that are going to call him back, but you don't build systems for the exceptional. You build systems for everybody else. I don't even rely, like, no matter what. No, like going to sales recovery.
Sales recovery is a whole other thing as well. We should do another episode on that. So let's just a whole follow up on sales recovery.
We have a badass system for sales recovery. You know it, Rick.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, it's awesome. Yeah.
I think this was amazing. And that last one thing question, if you're like a sincere human being, that's a sincere question. If they can feel that you literally are operating from your heart and you're a sincere person that isn't afraid to ask, it's gotta just help closing percentages.
It does. It does. You won't really happy people. To that point, we'll look at you and go, it's just money. I don't want to make a bad decision. And then it gives you the chance to let go of your guarantees. So look, that's why I have these guarantees. There's no risk to this.
Right.
Zero risk. You want to think about it. Let's think about it for a year. You have no risk with us. You're free from any worry with us. We've been around a long time. We're not going to lose our business over a $15,000 sale. A company that's this big by cheating one person. I mean, really think about it. So it just gives you the chance to go back into their fear. And that's really generally what it is, right? Fear of doing business. You're scared. Don't make the wrong decision. Don't pick the wrong company. Right? That's what it is.
Fear holds both parties back.
That's right.
Fear holds most people back.
Right.
Yep.
Not people on this phone call.
Yep.
Josh, I want Rick and Chris to have the opportunity to allow our listeners reach out to them because, I'm sure every comfort consultant can be even better. Any other last questions, Josh, that you want to ask?
No, I think we're about up on time. I've enjoyed, Rick, we've known each other for 20 plus years, 25 years almost. Always enjoy chatting with you. Chris, love chatting with you too. Thanks for coming on and thanks for just chatting and enjoying and having fun. And if they're wearing the Clover hat, man, he's committed.
Yeah. I told Chris, I'm wearing a special hat today. It's good for me. It's my favorite brand, so that's what I wear every day. Like I said, so.
You're preparing yourself for even more luck.
Next time I'm getting the hat.
No, I've got, we had this conversation before, but like apparently me and Rick, we're both collectors of Live Lucky hats. We have a bunch of them.
Hang on, who got the first Live Lucky hat in our house?
No, I had a Live Lucky hat for a long time.
You are so full of rubbish. No, you didn't.
Oh, I have one. It was from Ferguson. I had it for years and years and years.
I have no idea.
We have a bunch of them now.
Anyway,
Anyway.
of the Live Lucky hat. So
Hey, by the way, just for fun, it's not this one. I just had 2 new ones delivered to my house yesterday, just so you know I did.
Well, then we gotta buy some more hats and gotta keep up with Rick.
you know, they're not cheap,
No, well, they're good.
but they're legit. It's so the Live Lucky
Not
hat.
expensive either. They're medium.
They can't even
Medium.
keep themselves stocked though. Like I have to like search for the hat I want off the Live Lucky website.
Yeah, I do too. I bought this from the Lord Fords or whatever. Yeah.
Okay, so before we get off topic, tell our listeners where they can learn more about you.
Again, if you want to go to salescrusher.com, you can get the free report hat /free-report. If you also want to get some sales meetings from Rick, if you're an owner of business, you want to get some sales meetings to go free, go to the HVACsalescoach.com/meetings. The HVACsalescoach.com/meetings. There's 4 done for you sales meetings ready to go that you can play at your next sales meeting. The guys will get actionable 1, 2, 3 content.
If you can show me, for any salesperson that listens to this, and you can send us proof of your closing percentages pre-listening and post-listening, you can get a Live Lucky hat of your choice.
There you go. Oh, look at that.
Thank you so much, guys, for spending these fast 45 minutes with us. But seriously, Chris and Rick, thank you. The sales process is fascinating. And seriously, if you can rid a person of fear, it not just makes them more money, it makes their life so much bloody better. Like we're in sales time.
Yeah.
Cheers, guys. Thank you again. Listeners, if you need any more information, reach out to us at josh@growwithclover.com, laura@growwithclover.com, or Power Selling Pros, of course.
Before I forget, because I know we were supposed to do it at the beginning, but make sure you follow us, like the podcast, share us. Go change the world, guys. We appreciate you.
Cheers, guys.
Cheers.
Thank you for listening to Lip Service for Contractors. We hope you enjoyed this episode. Make sure to leave us a review in the App Store and don't forget to share with your friends. Ideas are cheap. Implementation is what separates the winners from the watchers. Go out and implement these ideas. See you on the next episode of Lip Service for Contractors.